You've heard the Podzeen. Well, now you are listening to Podzeen Tour Thing.
All right, welcome. Come one, come all. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, baby.
Featuring Frankie T and Danger Remington Dorchester.
Okay.
That's right, Podzeners. This is a new podcast on the Podzeen Podcast Network, or whatever the hell we're eventually going to call it. And this is all about touring and tours that are going on and all the fun things that have to do with being on tour. First and foremost, we are going to talk about some of the tours that are happening currently or have recently ended. Just things that we are excited about and really enjoy about live music. And I believe you already had something yesterday when we were gearing up for this. So if you want to just start, it was Jack Johnson or something?
Yeah, Jack Johnson. Well, the way he tours, he doesn't have like any plastic or any dinnerware that gets thrown away. It's all like actual plates or compostable stuff. He gives water bottles to all the crew, and they have, water bottle fill containers backstage and stuff to try to minimize the amount of plastics that are used. Yeah, I think it's cool. Bands that are, aware of the carbon footprint that they're putting out there just to get the job done.
Right.
But I don't know. There's some other really cool things going on right now. Humphreys McGee's been hitting it hard, and they got a really cool production going on between, not only what they've been doing musically, but also with the lighting and audio. Right. Those guys have been crushing it.
What's crazy about their live show right now?
Oh, it's just incorporating a lot of their new, more proggy material with, some of the just standard jam band, extended jams.
Right.
And their production just goes along with it really well. Their lighting guy, Waffle, is great. Yeah.
Have you met Waffle in your...
just passing and stuff. He's usually out at front of house while I'm on stage, but I am friends with their guitar tech, Andrew. He's a great guy, an awesome tech. Yeah.
So I wanted to, and I just realized as I was getting everything going up, I was really excited, but then realized that it just ended, was the Twins of Evil tour.
Oh, yeah?
Was the Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson tour. Ended a few weeks back, and I was like, sweet, I get to, but it's done, so I can't really talk about that.
Oh, yeah. I think, I don't know if Humphreys is still hitting it. I didn't know we had to be current,
I guess it doesn't
right
necessarily
now.
Have to, but it's
most
just
people going to be listening to this, after we're talking about it anyways.
That's true. But I was excited about the Twins of Evil tour. I'm reading through some tour news right now, actually, and it's really funny. There's a blurb about Ozzy's tour. So you know how all the old metal bands are retiring. Slayer's on their farewell tour. Ozzy was supposedly on his farewell tour. Rush just did their farewell tour.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're not, because Neil Peart is going deaf effectively. He's got really bad tinnitus. Ooh. And so he doesn't want to make it worse for fear of actually going deaf. And they said if one of us isn't going to do it, then the rest of us aren't going to do it either.
Yeah, that's admirable.
Yeah, well, and Rush is Rush. You can't. It's like The Who still going on tour. Townsend said, we're not The Who anymore. We're just a really great Who cover band. And so that, I feel like that's a good sentiment to have. If one of us isn't going to be here, then I don't necessarily think the rest of us should do it either. I think that's cool. Yeah. But what got me onto this little tangent is Ozzy just announced, because the name of the tour is called No More Tours Tour.
That's a great tour name.
Right? So everyone assumed, and I feel like there was even a press announcement that said this is going to be the last tour. It's going to be forever. Oh, and Phil Collins is on his farewell tour. Or not Phil Collins. Oh, God. Elton John. Wow.
Elton
totally
John.
Different British dude.
Yeah. Yep. They're a little different.
Yeah.
They're,
Anyway, so
they're
Ozzy,
both in bands though, so you got that right.
there, right? Ozzy's announcement was he's doing the No More Tours tour, and it was about the same time that Slayer announced they were doing it, they were killing it, and then about the same time that Elton John made his announcement, and I talked about it on the nerdy channel and was like, everybody's retiring, but now Ozzy's saying it's called the No More Tours tour, not the No More Tours Ever tour. So apparently he's not planning on retiring after this tour. He's just gonna put more time between. I don't even know. It just
Yeah, well, it sounds like he's gonna do like the Weekend Warrior type of thing, where he'll go and do a couple of nights in a city, or maybe
Right.
just one night, little one-offs.
right.
But he's not going to be doing a whole stretch across the country.
Yeah. That makes sense. As being as Ozzy is like fucking 100 years old at this point.
Yeah,
It totally
I think
makes
he's
sense.
102. Yeah.
And then not a whole lot going on the heavy side as far as tours go. Everybody's recording right now.
Yeah. Sure seems like it. I heard that the Queens of the Stone Age tour that just happened this summer was really killer.
Yeah, I'm going to see Echo and the Bunnymen in November.
Ooh, Echo
Yeah,
and the Bunnymen.
I'm kind of stoked on it because I'm not a huge Echo and the Bunnymen fan, just kind of passively.
Yeah.
But like the last couple,
I've never listened to Echo and the Bunnymen. Is that?
You would know. Let me
sounds
see.
like
It's an
almost sounds like
80s.
something.
It's like an 80s like goth kind of pop band, kind of like Depeche Mode.
Okay.
So let me see if I can't remember the name of the single, but I know the song that like everybody knows them for. So let me look it up real quick. But the last two random 80s bands I went and saw, Depeche Mode, which I knew I was going to like Depeche Mode because I just fucking love Depeche Mode. But I went and saw Depeche Mode, and they put on a wicked show. And then I saw, before that was, oh, help me, Meg. The Cure, that's right. Why? I don't know why. Because I was not really much of a fan of The Cure, and then I saw them live, and I was like, God, that's awesome. Robert Smith is a hell of a vocalist and still sounds just as good as he did back when he recorded the hits, man.
Yeah.
Killing Moon, that's right.
Awesome.
It's
Killing Moon,
time. Yeah, that song. That's Echo and the Bunnymen.
Nice.
So yeah,
Okay,
that's tour stuff.
That's tour stuff. Oh, and just there's one more tour that's just been absolutely crushing it. And
go for it.
I mean, they'll do a couple weeks on, a couple weeks off, couple weeks on, hitting a lot of festivals. Is J-Rad, Joe Russo's Almost Dead. Those guys, I mean, they sound they sound better than the Grateful Dead ever did. They're tighter. It's like if Jerry and Phil and all those guys and Kreutzmann, if they all grew up in New York and that's where they formed the band and have that kind of East Coast rock going instead of the loose West Coast style. Those guys, cool. Yeah, their guitar player Scott, he sounds more like Bobby than Bobby does these days.
That's funny.
So, yeah, if you're anybody that's a Grateful Dead fan, that's a killer show to go see. I guess even if you're not a Dead fan, if you just like seeing some really good music, they play a little more on top of the beat than Dead did.
I was just gonna say, if they're tighter than the Dead and everything, then is it more like the early like blues infused Dead?
Oh, they play kind of all over, and they'll do some drums in space and stuff like that even. But man, they I've seen them play with sit-ins and stuff like that as well. They are I don't know, there's something else. They actually sing in key. They know where the one is.
There you go.
Yeah, and Grateful Dead always had really good songwriting. A lot of people were deterred by the harmonies or lack thereof.
Right. Yeah. Well, and
vocal stylings.
I just remember, I feel like I've mentioned this at least once on the regular Podzeen. The first time I ever heard the Grateful Dead, because I am not not much for the Dead at all.
Yeah.
And the first time I ever heard them, like I didn't know it was them. It was just we were the band I was in. We were playing a festival, or it was an all-day thing. It's hard to call anything that's not outside a festival.
True.
But that's what it was billed as, was a festival. But it was indoors at Don Quixote, or not the backside. Yeah, no, Don Quixote's and the other side. So
Don
the two those two bars
I
downtown
think it's
Denver.
just Quixotes.
Oh, it's changed a couple of times. Since I played there last.
I think no, Quixotes is still there. And you down there, that's Beyond Key.
Yeah, I think it was Don Quixote's. I don't remember what I'm almost 100% that's where it was. That
okay.
And because it's the two different bars. Anyway, between bands, the sound guy, because there was the one house sound guy that was doing all the bands because we were all a bunch of locals. He was playing the Grateful Dead, and I didn't know what it was. It was just a random band that was coming through the speakers. So I grabbed my bass player at the time. I was like, dude, do you know who the fuck this is that they're playing on the speakers right now? He goes, yeah, this is the Grateful Dead. And I was like, oh, this is why everybody hates them. Because metalheads generally aren't big on the Dead. There are definitely pockets of exceptions to that. But as a general statement.
Yeah, well, let me just say, I know a lot of people that don't like the Grateful Dead that like get rocking to Joe Russo's Almost Dead. Yeah, J-Rad.
Yeah, I've heard that there are offshoots of the Dead, and like every now and then on PBS when they do their money drives and they're playing good shit that people want to watch, they'll play some Dead offshoots, and like they played, I can't remember who it was that Words, I forget.
Words, Dark Star Orchestra, Dead and Company.
No, it was. I think it was Dead and Company. I think it was Dead and Company because that's who
they've had so many.
They had what's his name on guitar, right?
John Mayer.
John Mayer, yeah. That was Dead and Company.
Dead and Company. Yep.
Yeah, they played a performance from them, and I think it might have just been because I really like John Mayer. I think he's a fantastic guitar player. But I dug that. But I just, at this one gig, the first time I heard him, it was like, this is the worst thing ever people have ever picked up instruments to do. It was just, I just couldn't dig it. But then, I run into cats like you who've been listening to Dead for a while, and they say, oh, you need to listen to the Pigpen stuff and all that jazz. So, I mean, there's even for those who hate the Dead or severely dislike them, there are things that you could get into.
Yeah.
So moving right along, that's tour stuff. That's active things to potentially go see.
Yeah.
But the next bit of tour thing we're going to talk about is I want to know. So for those of you listening who are unfamiliar with Danger Remington Dorchester, our fabulous keyboard / guitar player / vocalist / just does fucking everything.
Hello.
Yes. Danger is the man who is kind of hard for us to nail down for a lot of projects because he tours with a couple of bands, and those two bands are String Cheese Incident. Sorry, I just had a mouthful of stupid.
Yeah.
String Cheese Incident.
That's kind of what that name is, though. I mean, great band, but they really could have spent, another day thinking about band names, in my opinion.
String Cheese and Ween, you keyboard tech for both, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So which one was first? Which one did you tech for first? Was it Ween?
I started working for Ween back in 2010. And it was, my first big tour.
Yeah, how did that all come about? How did you first start working for these big touring bands, specifically Ween, because they were the first one you went on tour with?
Oh, I was, keyboard player before being a tech, of course, but just growing up playing keys and got into doing audio and being a live sound tech and sound guy and working festivals and concerts, and Ween's front of house engineer Kirk Miller moved out to Colorado, and after a couple years of doing shows with him and getting to know him and He called me up one day and said, "Hey, we're going to need a keyboard tech, and you have all the necessary knowledge as far as signal flow and being a keyboardist myself to be able to jump in and take care of the job. So here's our manager's email. He doesn't know we need a tech yet, so just go ahead and list me as a reference and send him your resume."
Wow.
Yeah,
So it was kind of a right place, right time /
right
I know
place,
a guy.
right time. It was yeah, I know a guy, and it was beyond my knowledge. He's told me that he thought I could, I had the right
Right.
personality to
Right. It wasn't
to
because
be
you were
on that
like
stage. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
It wasn't because you were like begging him for a job or anything. It was
No, he called me out
right
of I
place,
was
right
one of the
time more
most
than anything.
unexpected calls in my life. Yeah.
That's really cool. What were you doing for work before that? Before you were a rock star?
Yeah, before I worked for the rock stars, I worked
before
for
you lived the rock star
audio
life. There you
companies.
go.
Before I worked for venues like the Mishawaka Amphitheater and Planet Bluegrass, and did festivals um, as an audio tech and backline tech. Festivals like Telluride, Blues and Brews, and Bohemian Nights at New West Fest, and oh man,
just
list goes
audio
on
gigs
and on.
wherever you could
Audio
connect
gigs
them.
on and off, and yeah, and when
Yeah.
I wasn't out at a festival or at a venue, I was in the warehouse fixing stuff, and yeah, just plugging away, trying to make ends meet.
What was that first tour like? Was there anything noteworthy, or was it just, oh my God, I'm on tour?
It was it was a short little run. We only did a couple weeks. I believe it was down the East Coast through the Midwest. But it was fun. I had a little bit of hazing, had a beer poured over my head to see how I'd react, but also, really was taken in right away with those guys and accepted with open arms. I felt we kind of hit it off right away.
So, so you don't really remember exactly where you guys were? You don't have like tour journal. You're not Henry Rollins about it.
I do remember staying up all night with Jeaner and just listening to music and talking about songs and stuff like that our parents played for us when we were little. And I remember driving, I think through North Carolina doing that. Yeah, until the sun came up, just telling stories and
just telling
playing music.
And out.
Everybody else had gone to bed. And yeah, it was a really cool experience. I was only like, I think 25. And I just turned 25 when I did that tour. So, and the band was 25 years. They were on their 25th years being a band. So,
so it was kind of surreal in that respect. That's funny that I didn't. I really thought that you started with them. Well, I guess they were broken up when we were like late
when
teens,
we
early
met.
20s,
Yeah.
huh?
Well, no, they broke up in 2012 to 2016, and 2012, the same month that they announced their breakup, I ended up getting a call from the String Cheese incident and started working for them. So it was a pretty seamless transition for me.
Have you had any issues going between, like you're on tour with Ween and when String Cheese needs you, or vice versa?
Yeah, we've had there's been a couple of dates that have overlapped, like Halloween last year.
Who'd
Stuff
you go
like
with
that
for Halloween?
I was with String Cheese at the time, and I almost made the other tour. We overlapped by one day, but we actually got to see each other at the Halloween Festival in Northern Florida, Live Oak.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they were both playing, and I, went and helped Tween, the guy that was filling in for me, helped show him what was going on and stuff. It was great. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, but now haven't had to miss any shows 2018. It's been great. I've done all the shows for both bands.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Go see all the peeps.
Yeah, now that's going to change here again over Halloween, unfortunately.
Are you going back out with them?
I'll be going back out with Ween in October, and with String Cheese in October as well. Those
Oh
work out.
shit.
It works out until Halloween weekend. In the first couple of days, there's like 4 dates that overlap.
Oh.
Yeah, it almost worked out. But then String Cheese added a few dates, which I'm fine with. I mean, I just don't like
Can't
turning
do all
down
the
work.
things,
I don't like
right?
turning down work. There's good people that fill in for me. A couple of the Primus techs filled in for me. Matt and Ryan, those guys are great.
Can't do all the things all the time, though.
Yeah, they filled in for Gabe as well, our guitar tech. He also tours with Katy Perry, and yeah, so
it's a small world, isn't it?
yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So that's your rock star lifestyle. Now, your first concert experience as a child. What was the first concert you went to?
Ooh, first like rock and roll show that my parents took me to. I think I was 14. They took me to Red Rocks to see the Allman Brothers.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's a killer show.
It was such an awesome show. I was blown away. Well, both at the Allman Brothers and at being at Red Rocks as well. It was kind of like, wow, where does it go from here?
Now,
yeah.
all right,
and I still have a shirt from that. I still have a tie-dye Allman Brothers lot shirt that I bought.
Here's an interesting thing to discuss, since you just brought up Red Rocks. Being as you are a sound guy and I have schooling as such and operate as such from time to time, I'm not a huge fan of Red Rocks. Like, aside from the hike to get up there because I'm fat, but
you should show up on a Sunday when they're doing yoga.
Oh no, I've seen the pictures. I'm familiar with this.
Like 6,000 downward dogs.
No, so the reason I'm not a huge fan of the venue is because if you end up even kind of close to the sound booth or anywhere behind the sound booth, the sound can go from pretty good to absolute shit depending on the way the wind is blowing.
Yeah, definitely. You'd want to go when it's nice weather.
Because like the last
for one
time
to stay dry, but yeah, it also makes the lighting show better when it gets really windy. All the fog just goes away, and the lighting guys really have to battle it.
The last time I was up there was for Clutch and Lamb of God. And it was a killer show, aside from the fact that I couldn't hear the highs for at least half of each band's set because the wind was blowing just right. So all I could get was everything from like 1,000 megahertz down.
Well, you do start to lose some of that hearing the more alcohol you drink. So, if that was bothering
the driver.
You could just touche. Yeah,
it was just me and the girlfriend, and I was driving, so I was not drunk. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, you're a good man. Good responsibility skills there. Making the right decisions.
So have you, because you work there with both acts, but primarily with String Cheese, I would imagine you're there more often with String Cheese.
Both bands have, like Ween's played there the last 2 years since they've reunited. They wanted to play in 2016, but Red Rocks has so many events going on that they have to. It takes a while to get on the list there, and there's people that have reserves. And,
Have you had any issues with it, like any experience with trying to circumvent this, or you're on stage, so you don't really have to worry about the mix necessarily. But
no, the only thing I can do is try to keep the gear dry when it starts raining.
Right? Is it something that sound guys that you've worked with have talked about at all, or am I just crazy?
It's just the nature of the beast. That really happens with any outdoor venue, but Red Rocks being in the mountains gets those gusts of wind that can really, especially during sundown when all the pressure's changing and you'll just get this. Just all of a sudden it looks great, and then whew,
Yeah, it's
like
beautiful.
where'd the PA go?
Right? It's absolutely beautiful, but I can't hear shit.
Yeah, you can kind of hear it sometimes when you're in the lines going up there as a patron and stuff. If it's windy and there's an opening band playing, or there's something going on,
Right.
the wind comes around, you'll hear like the high end, like, oh, I can hear the music. The wind's literally pushing the music and all that propagated air right out of the venue.
Yeah. Very, very literally right out of the venue.
Yep.
So your first experience with live music was Allman Brothers. My first experience with live music was Warped Tour. I was
That's
16.
much different.
Very, very different. I was 16 years old. Well, okay, first experience with live music that wasn't like my friend's band. You know what I mean? Because I was in a band at the time. I was 16 years old and in a really shitty little metal band. So like I had performed at this point. I just hadn't been to like see a band. I had paid money to listen to their album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the first concert in that respect was Warped Tour. God, I was 16, so it was 2009, I believe.
Yeah.
Or yeah, something like that. And I was in Salt Lake, and I went with my cousins, and I had never been in a proper mosh pit before. And so
that's a good introduction.
Right? It was on the bill was AFI. Oh, son of a bitch. Who was on this bill? I think that was a year that 311 was there. Alien Ant Farm was there. Really random. This is like as Warped Tour was going, hey, you know what? Punk rock's not really selling tickets anymore. There was I can't think of the name of the fuck. Pennywise. Thank you, dear Lord.
Okay.
And that was so Pennywise was the first like, oh my god, this mosh pit might kill me, because I mean obviously it's Warped Tour. We've been there all day. Yeah. Pennywise was one of the last bands. They were closing out one of the or they were like third to last on one of the main stages, and it was insane. I all I really remember about the show is their guitar player pointing the head of his guitar because they were about to play Fuck Authority, and he said, this song goes out to those guys right there, and he points the head of the guitar over to the cops, to the security officers that were standing along the side. And then it was my cousin. I was with my cousins, Sam and Joe. And Joe, it was his first concert ever. Like, he had never been to even see any of his friends in high school's band, anything like that. It was his very, very, very first concert.
Yeah.
And so he had never mosh pitted either. And I remember the three of us were in the pit, and Sam was a little bit older, so he had to step out sooner. And I saw Joe go down in the center of the pit, and somebody kicked him in the side of the head. And I was like, well, there goes the rest of our concert.
Yep. Time to go.
we had to pull him out, and he like blacked out for about 2 minutes, and we sat him up on a seat somewhere, and we're like, how do you feel? He goes, I don't know. Do you feel like we should leave? He said, no, give me a minute. And as soon as he, stopped seeing stars, he was like, no, I feel fine. Let's stay. So we stuck around for the last, 3 bands that were on the stages. That was just a very vivid image in my head of my very first concert was, oh my God, I think Joe's dead.
Yeah. Dead, concussed, definitely, but
at the very least.
Yeah. Well.
So yeah.
That's pretty wild right there.
Have you ever been to, I mean, I'm sure you have. Have you ever been to a metal show, what could be qualified as metal and or punk rock show?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Have you ever worked one? I mean, aside from the big festivals like New West and all that shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's Riot Fest that goes through. And
I guess that's right. What's his name runs Riot Fest too? I forgot about that.
Yeah. Don't forget about that one.
Yeah.
I've been to Lollapalooza. And
You've been to or worked Lollapalooza?
Yeah. Well, I worked Lollapalooza. I was there with Ween, and I believe it was 2011.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, that was really fun watching. They set up 2 layers of fence, and there's a bunch of security guards in between them, and you can't see through the fence. So there'll be like a dozen kids that go and they try to sneak in, and they all jump the fence at once to try to, at least maybe a couple of them will get through. But they jump over and they're like, oh crap, there's another fence we have to jump over all of a sudden. And they don't know what's on the other side of that one either. And I saw one kid get through, and he jumped right into like the artist VIP bar thing. He got taken right out. Clearly did not belong there. Yeah,
that's awesome. So the
security was really good.
They learned, right? Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, man. The thing that we learned today is if you jump the fence at Lollapalooza, act like you belong.
Yeah.
Don't be starstruck if you land in fucking Lars Fredriksen's lap.
Yeah. You jump down and all of a sudden you're behind the bar and somebody's asking you for a drink. You better know how to make it.
That's fucking, there you go. Life advice from Danger Remington Dorchester right there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good shit. All right. So thank you very much, Podzeners, for listening to this experiment that we have here. I feel like this potentially is we're sitting right about 30 minutes. So this is potentially a good length. Obviously, this is much less political than the other Podzeen content that you guys have listened to, but this is the more fun. This is the more fun side of everything Obzeen. So, and slightly less political members. The only reason I do the Podzeen is because I'm the straight man. Those two just go nuts.
Yeah, they have to have a mediator sometime.
Exactly, because the rule of thumb is if it offends me, then it probably won't get published. Which we haven't crossed that line yet. So
yeah,
we're doing pretty
tough
good.
To offend.
It's true. It's very true.
People have tried.
Yes. People with the last name Jam and or
Bean Picker.
Yeah.
No. It's all right. We like to push each other's buttons.
It's true. Friends. That's why we're family.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know, guys. If you like this foray out, we're gonna do at least a few episodes before we start getting the feedback that we are expecting. So I mean, if you hate it, then tell us, and we'll do more.
Yeah. Tell us what's stupid and what you enjoyed.
Yeah, for sure. And
you can criticize, just make it constructive.
There is a Patreon. We are on Patreon, patreon.com/Obzeen, I believe. And
I'm
then
on
the
my
website.
Couch.
The website obviously is obzeen.rocks, because that's probably where you're listening to it, because I don't think they let us on the SoundCloud. Oh, no, we haven't got banned off SoundCloud yet, so we're still up there, which runs through the iTunes. So you might be listening to us there, but check out the website, obzeen.rocks, for all of the stuff. Also, Danger and I are both in Telepathic Sandwich. So telepathicsandwich.com is the place to go get our music and pay us the things so that we can continue to do entertaining shit for all of you crazy listeners.
We're mixing our second album right now, World War Fun. So be on the lookout for that in the horizon.
Actually, I was thinking of using, and let me know if you think this is a good idea there, Danger. I was thinking of using Keys, Cell Phone, and Wallet as the intro music for this.
Ooh. Yeah.
Just because it's
kind of little jingle type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little instrumental section from that.
Yeah. Or we could do something even stupider.
Oh, yeah. Eventually, we will do something even stupider.
We'll work on it.
Until we get to that point, I was just going to use Keys, Cell Phone, and Wallet, just a little snippet.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, I think that kills it. Thanks again for listening, guys. It has been Podzeen Tour Thing, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yes, take care.